And welcome to Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290 CJBK on this Saturday afternoon. And we are joined here on the program by my friend, longtime friend, Joan from LePage, Triland Realty. You can reach Joan at any time, 519-672-9880. And Joan, you brought along the sunshine very nicely all week long this past week. It's been so nice, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been great, hasn't it? It's certainly London has exploded as far as nature's concerned.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're in that camp, but I can literally watch the leaves and the buds just come out.
Yeah.
I mean, they change minute by minute almost.
Isn't that so nice indeed? Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts on News Talk 1290, CJBK. And yes, indeed, lots of things blossoming out there. I'll ask you right off the top in terms of blossoming, Joan, in your industry the last couple of weeks since the last time we've had the chance to talk. What's it been like out there?
Well, I always used to say the flowers come up, the for sale signs come out.
Okay.
And certainly we've had a rush onto the market by many, many sellers, and it has shifted our market significantly. Lots more for buyers to choose from, and many sellers are not, in fact, getting the prices that they would have recognized previously. Even in the last 6 months, you cannot evaluate a list price against something that sold, even 3 months ago, because the market was completely different then. And I think it makes it a very transitional market. It doesn't mean that buyers can steal properties. It's not a buyer's market.
Okay.
That's certainly not what's happening, but we are definitely now in what we call a balanced market. Still properties that are priced well and have some very attractive features are getting the attention. However, there are many more properties that are coming to offer date and not necessarily recruiting any offers, let alone multiple offers.
Wow.
So that's a real shift we haven't seen for quite a while. The interest rates have certainly played a part in that. We've seen, first the initial 0.25% increase and then the 0.5%. So we're seeing things move up. I do estimate that we may, in fact, see one other increase. But I think in the long term we'll balance out again. But certainly things had to calm down a bit, and that's what we're seeing. So it's an adjustment. It's managing expectations for both buyers and sellers, and making sure that when you're listing a property, we're doing it within a realistic price range that will both attract the buyers and certainly get some response on paper.
Isn't that interesting, though, Joan? No matter what cycle we're going through, the advice that you just gave there seems to hold true no matter what the situation is out there, whether buyer or seller. It comes down to, making sure you've got the right number on that house.
Exactly. And I think that that's always been true. However, having said that, certainly when we were in such short supply late last fall and into the new year, I did see some sellers just flip their list price up a bit, and they could do that because they knew it was going to exceed listing price by a significant amount. But we certainly saw so many properties come on the market in April that it caught some of the sellers a little off guard, and certainly the buyers sort of settled down and realized, okay, maybe I now can secure something without going to crazy prices. And, there's a number of consequences for each market, in that buyers may, in fact, if they're not closing for several months, think, oh, gee, did I overpay? But
Right.
At the end of the day, the market was what the market was. And so you can't go backwards, but we certainly need to educate our consumers and ensure that they're coming out at the most realistic list price right now.
Obviously, over the last couple of years, Joan, we saw some major changes in the market, particularly the increased prices of homes, not only in this area but across the country. Have you ever seen a shift so quick, like over the last 2 to 3, 4 weeks?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah, absolutely. Well, back in the sort of early 90s, we certainly saw the market adjust quite significantly. Yet our sort of we are still very affordable, and that's what people need to realize. London is still quite affordable when you look around Ontario, southwestern Ontario or southern Ontario. We are still very, very affordable. So as much as our prices have increased, we were so below what some of the other communities are closer to the GTA that we had a long way to go, and we're still pretty affordable.
Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290 CJBK. You can reach Joan. You caught me in the middle of drinking a cup of coffee here, Joan. You can reach Joan at any time, 519-672-9880, 519-672-9880, and joanball.com, the website address. And Joan, before we go any further, because I always like to at least touch on them twice during the program, so let's talk about a wonderful property you have listed right now, and it can be seen on your website at joanball.com. Tell us about it.
So I've listed 90 Bexhill Drive in Westminster Park, and this is a great property. The backyard oasis, the owner is a gardener and an avid gardener, and it's beautiful when it's all in full bloom. And this time of year doesn't always do it justice because it's just starting to come to life, but it is a raised ranch. 3 bedrooms up, another bedroom in the lower level, so that makes 4 in total, plus a separate large den, which I call it a den because it doesn't have a closet. So you could certainly use it as a bedroom. With raised ranches, the window sizes are excellent, but it doesn't have a closet, so you need a wardrobe. Finished laundry room, utility room, 2 full bathrooms, formal dining room, hardwood floors on the main floor in the principal rooms, large eat-in kitchen with an island and a wood-top island at that. And it has a 2-tiered deck in the back, and it doesn't back onto anybody else. So it's really quite nice at $599,900. I will be doing a virtual open house tomorrow, I will be doing a virtual open house on that people can, it's going to be a pre-tape, so they can look at it online and get a chance on Facebook. On my website, there's a link there, and then they get a chance to look through it. I'm taking offers on Sunday.
Excellent. Yeah, and it's such a wonderful neighborhood too, isn't it, Joan?
Yeah, it is. And back in there, you're tucked way back in the neighborhood. And the neighbors, I've met all of them, absolutely amazing, family-friendly neighbors, very, very warm and inviting, and really sad that this present seller is going, and he is as well. However, he's moving out of town.
Gotcha. Yeah, wonderful looking home. And again, you can check out all the details, as Joan mentioned, on the website, joanball.com. And so you'll be taking offers tomorrow, Sunday, Joan?
Right. That's
excellent.
Right.
Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290 CJBK from Royal LePage, Triland Realty. You can reach Joan at 519-672-9880. That's 519-672-9880. JoanBall.com, the website address here on Ask the Experts. Our long-time real estate expert here on CJBK, Joan Ball, with us here, and we'll be back with more right after these. And welcome back to Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290 CJBK with Joan Ball from Royal LePage, Triland Realty. I've talked to a few people over the last few weeks, and it's kind of struck me as maybe this is more of a trend than I thought, Joan, but you have talked about this in the past as well. The letters that people, and maybe it was because of the high demand and multiple offers on homes, but a handful of people have told me stories about people writing letters to people that they know or knew that were selling their homes. Did that increase over the last little while? And letters meaning, pleading their case as to why they should be the ones that their offer is taken on a home?
Oh, I think the creativity comes, certainly out of the woodwork when you're competing, as we have over the last number of years. And, I've certainly recruited and submitted on behalf of buyers letters complete with photographs of them and anything that in particular that they would really enjoy about the possibility of owning that home. And in some cases, it certainly had some influence. In other cases, and most times, it really does get down to the numbers. And most sellers, however, every once in a while, I have a seller who says, this is so close, but I think those are the ones we want here, because we know they're a family. We love our neighbors. We want to make sure that a family buys into the property. So, it's really an interesting initiative, but I think does have some impact in the right situation.
Right, and people go as far as giving pictures as well. I had not heard that. Really?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the last ones I did was a young couple in their 20s, and they had a picture of themselves and some of the other details about themselves and how they felt they would fit within the neighborhood. And my sellers were tickled pink.
Wow, isn't that cool? What about, do people ever go as far as gifts, Joan, and giving the sellers anything?
I haven't been party to that.
No.
In the offer stage. So, I'm sure there have been. I've certainly heard of some rental situations where that has happened when they're competing, but I haven't been involved in anything specific to that.
Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290 CJBK. You touched on earlier, Joan, the interest rates. Is that sort of top of the mind of a lot of people too right now, particularly if they are looking for a home? Because it's a big, made a difference, the interest rate increase over the last little while.
It really depends on who you are. If you're a first-time home buyer and you're really tight to the wire, definitely. There have been some scenarios recently that I have heard about where buyers went in, bought something, and they still had to sell their house, and now they're in a pinch because their house hasn't sold. They've got this new interest rate. They don't qualify. There's some. So you really have to be smart and make sure you cross all your T's, dot all your I's, and you don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to be strapped or potentially not able to close.
Right. And so it would be, for some people, a little tougher right now as far as the pre-approval process, depending on what their income is?
Absolutely. I think that's one of those that a good, responsible mortgage broker will have given them a little bit of leeway and a little bit of flexibility there, just forecasting the market and where it's heading.
Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290 CJBK. We talked about things blossoming earlier as well, and you have suggested, Joan, obviously this isn't exactly the time to be doing it, but in the months ahead, it's not a bad idea for homeowners, especially if they're thinking, and if it's going to be during the winter months, to get somebody to take pictures of their surroundings just to highlight some of the qualities. Would you ever go so far as to advise a homeowner to get somebody professionally to do something like that?
I do it all the time.
Yeah?
And I find that this time of year, once everything gets in full bloom and, if you know that your property shows in the best light during this period of time, that's when to get the photographer in there. And I've done it with clients. I have a couple of them right now where I have the photographs all ready and saved for the exterior, because they're going to be building and they're building up north, or they just don't know where they're going to go and what the time frame is. So we have those ready and available so that when their time sort of presents itself, then we're ready to go.
You've been on the forefront as well over the years of being very, very in favor of home staging, and you were the first person that ever brought it to my attention. Now, obviously, it's a pretty normal situation when people are selling their home, but what about it going as far as staging some things outside? Is that something that can be accomplished?
Oh, absolutely. That's as essential as the interior. I think it's important. Remember, you're selling a lifestyle, and Gloria Bartlett, has said many times, you're telling a story by your property, by the interior, each room in the interior, the exterior. You're selling a lifestyle, you're telling a story, and make sure that your property does that.
What are we talking something as simple, Joan, as even maybe if you have to acquire some plants or some different things like that, some flowers just to spruce things up on the outdoors?
Absolutely. I just spent a little while at Heman's last week and picking up a number of plants to enhance a property, either in the front elevation or in the backyard. So I think that those little added touches add a pop of color. It creates an ambiance. It just warms up the front elevation. So I think all of those things matter. And when you're trying to be the one that is the property that stands out, that's a feature that I think really serves the sellers well.
We've heard the term over the years applied to many different things. When you hear pride of ownership, that is something that is very important when it comes to home ownership, obviously, for many reasons. But when you are going to sell, little things, I'm sure, Joan, really pique people's interest if they're not taken care of. I'm thinking, paint that's maybe been chipped, or a knock in the wall, a drywall that's, been dented or something like that that's not being taken care of. Would a potential buyer look at those things and say, these people maybe didn't take that much care for their home, and that could detract them and also could put less money into the seller's pocket?
Absolutely. However, I will say there are a lot of flippers that say, I don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'll deal with it. I'll fix it. I'll repair it. I'll take it apart. I'll redo it, So sometimes that can work for buyers in that someone who isn't handy or doesn't or really looks at those things and they scare them, it might be an advantage to someone else. So, it really depends on the skill level and the talents and ability of that individual buyer as to how it's going to fall in the interest spectrum.
Joan Ball on Ask the Experts here on Newstalk 1290 CJBK, our real estate expert from LePage, Triland Realty. You can reach Joan anytime at 519-672-9880. That's 519-672-9880. And to people who are listening, Joan, who maybe are looking to acquire your services, what's the first step they need to take?
Just give me a shout, either through the office at 519-672-9880 or at joanball.com. You can also link to me through my website, or email me at joanball@royallepage.ca.
And then if it is somebody who's looking to sell, Joan, you would obviously want to go over and see the property?
Yeah, I think that's an essential part of it. I really need to do a proper needs assessment as far as where they're at, where they want to go, how their property presents, what sort of assistance they need to get things to where they're not leaving money on the table, perhaps. So it's a full needs assessment, and viewing the property is the first step in doing that.
It has to be quite emotional for people sometimes when they're selling their home. If they've been there a long time, there's a lot of attachment to it, of course. Do you kind of put yourself in their spot and feel sort of there, have empathy for them?
Well, I certainly will, as far as recognizing their reality. But, obviously I have a little bit more objectivity in perspective to the process. So, sometimes it is 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, and recognizing the sort of, sometimes little rituals can help in helping assist individuals or even children, young children who, that's their neighborhood. Those are all their friends and they're moving out of the area. Really being able to honor some of that is important. I think we wear many hats as realtors, but being totally unemotional about it would not help my sellers, yet I do have to have the objectivity to be able to do my job.
Joan Ball on Ask the Experts, and she does her job so well. You want to take advantage as well of the expertise that Joan can provide to you by picking up the phone and calling her at 519-672-9880. JoanBall.com, the website address. Here on Ask the Experts, we're back with more right after these. And welcome back to Ask the Experts with Joan Ball, our real estate expert from LePage, Triland Realty. Just a couple of minutes left. Do you ever have sellers, Joan, leave anything for the homeowners, like a gift and just kind of in kindness saying, we hope you enjoy your years here?
Absolutely. I think that's one of those little sweet touches and I've had homes where I've moved in and there's a bouquet of flowers and a bottle of wine, a little note to tell us about the neighbors. Quite often I will have sellers meet the buyers and just walk them through some of the specifics of their house and how it works. And also tell them about the neighbors and who lives where and what what the configuration of that family is and this and that and the other thing. So, that for many individuals, that's a sweet way of saying goodbye to their property and honoring the new buyer.
Nice. I like it. And speaking of a new buyer, you listening right now could be a new buyer because Joan has a beautiful home listed right now. And tell us about it again, Joan.
So 90 Bexhill Drive is in Westminster Park, and it is nestled right in the sort of east end of that subdivision, listed for $599,900. It is a 3+1 bedroom house with an additional den and an additional large family room with a gas fireplace, formal dining room, large eat-in kitchen with an island, updated countertops, and a lot of the windows, I think all of the windows except for two in the house have been updated. The roof was updated as well as the furnace, and the single-car garage has inside entry, two-tiered deck, and a gardener's paradise out back.
Yeah, the pictures of that garden, that is amazing. Wow, just beautiful.
It really is.
Yeah, what a nice... sorry, go ahead.
He's got a green thumb for sure.
No kidding. Yeah, what a beautiful backyard. Just got a note here, Joan, our final couple of minutes here. Can Joan discuss a little bit about disclosure and due diligence as an agent when working with both buyers and sellers?
Well, I think it's really important to fully interview your seller to know exactly what the benefits and features are of the property, but also are there any drawbacks? Are there any issues? Are there any details that we really should disclose? Is there an easement on the property? Was the property compromised as far as stigma in any way related to death or perhaps the production of illegal substances or whatever it is? I think that is really important, as it is for example, a buyer's agent to know about the neighborhood, to know about what is in the neighborhood, what you might want to be aware of, both from a plus side, but also from a side to be cautious of, or just simply aware of. So that's really part of our role and responsibility as agents, and we have that due diligence to ensure that our clients are protected and informed.
Excellent and great advice, as always, throughout the program today from Joan Ball, our real estate expert from LePage, Triland Realty. Again, you can reach Joan at any time, 519-672-9880. Go to the website, joanball.com. That's where you'll find the current listing that Joan has. Again, at the website, joanball.com. Joan, thanks as always. As I mentioned, great advice. I know our listeners appreciate it. So do I. And we will talk again in a couple of weeks. You enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you so much, Ryan. You as well.
Thank you. Joan Ball here on Newstalk 1290 CJBK.